So I have kind of two questions along that. One is, I think one is we've known each other for 14 years now. So, or 13, whatever. So we've transitioned from our 20s to late 30s, early 40s together. And we've seen in our friend group, a lot of people got married, had kids, and our original friend group is not the same. There are still people who are friends and still people who are friends with a lot of people, but we haven't seen, other than your birthday party was one, birthday last year was one where people kind of got back together. But there has been this transition. And so I think there's that one side of me that's like, okay, well, it's just different now being in a transitional time period of our lives. And then part of me looks around and I don't know that we are doing as good of a job for the 20-year-olds who are coming up as we had when we were in our 20s too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a good question. But I don't know. It's hard for me to weigh that because, like I'm at Good Shepherd. We don't have people in their 20s really that come to the church. I mean, I guess there are some, but I never see them.
Yeah.
That whole demographic has kind of, I don't know. I don't know if we're, I think they're just all at Elevation.
And I think Elevation and Forest Hill, I think that there is something to be said for that there's certain churches that attract, which is a whole other conversation. And I think that was originally the ministry that Charlotte One was what does it look like for you to be able to go to these multiple different churches and have a church that fits your theology, your doctrine, your neighborhood, whatever, and still come together and be able to provide a service for young adults in the city to all come together. I think that is a big piece that's missing from the greater Charlotte area now with the dissolving or the merging of Charlotte One. But I also wonder how much of that is also transitioned into South End too. I mean, where Good Shepherd is and where Weddington are. I mean, Weddington, the average house, I think average household income, I think is $80,000, $90,000 a year. And then average house value, I think is $500,000. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere hovering around that because we have multi-million-dollar houses. But really, you can't get a house in Weddington for much less than $300,000. They're rare, at least. And so someone who's in their early 20s isn't going to be living in Weddington. If you're, it's kind of a fact of life. Now, we do have 20-somethings in the church, but it's rare. It's not like South End where people are all living on top of each other just so that they can live in South End. So there is, and where Good Shepherd is, it's the same thing. It's houses. They're not
young families.
What? Yeah.
It's young families and couples.
It's young families and couples. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the demographic. And so it's great. Like churches are doing a good job reaching that demographic. The challenge is, do they care about people that aren't in that demographic who are still in the area? Or is the message that they send, well, come if you want to do family stuff, but if you're a single adult that doesn't have kids, maybe you should go check out a trendy church or a hip church or somewhere where you're going to meet other people and then get married and then come back and bring your kids.
Yeah.
That's kind of
later. We'll serve you when you're ready for us. Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely feel that. And maybe I shouldn't tell this and we can cut it out if I shouldn't tell this, but I remember 10 years ago talking about how I don't like 91.9, how I don't listen to 91.9 because everything that they did at the time, I don't listen to them now, so I don't know, everything was family focused and their prizes were based on your kid's birthday. Like that was all their prizes. And I'm like, so you have already sent me the message that if I am single without kids or married without kids, that this isn't a station for me because I don't have a kid. So I can't even win a prize for listening to your station. And I remember saying it around Talbot, and Talbot kind of mocked me a little bit. I was like, man, I just don't like, because they push so hard that it's a family-friendly station. And how do you think that makes me, 28-year-old at the time, Single Amy, who is desperately wanting to get married but hasn't found anyone yet. How do you think that makes me feel every single time that I turn on the radio station and am reminded of that as a failure in my life? Like, I get that it's a good thing to support families. I'm not trying to discount supporting families, because I don't know what it's like to be a mom. I don't know what it's like to be married and have a relationship with my spouse and have to manage a marriage. I don't know those things, but you don't know what it's like to be single in your 30s. Yeah. We are made to crave community. And when you live 10, 15, 20 years of your life without a solid foundation of community, it's hard. It starts to get hard.
Yeah. Well, you start to get jaded, and you become the stereotypical older single.
Right.
Where you just want to sit around and gripe about stuff. And when you're in your 20s and you're single, it's still fun. You still have time. You're still excited about meeting people. And then as the years tick on, as your option pool dwindles, you just get more cynical. But what I realize is that's something that I think churches need to not dismiss.
Mm-hmm.
I think they actually need to address that, because that's an actual condition that people go through in their midst.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I don't think we need to treat it as aberrant or outside the pale anymore. Like it should be, I don't know, if you're going to be a church for everyone, which is a good thing, you should be a church for everyone. Like there should be somebody somewhere in the halls of decision making who is like, hey, I'm a voice for these people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a voice. This dude's 40, almost 42, never been married, doesn't have kids, loves the Lord, is trying to be a Christian, doesn't really have community anymore because all his community is married with kids now. So what can we do to let this person know that they still matter and that they still have value for the church?
And I'd say even more than that, I think for me, and maybe you don't feel, I'm not going to try and speak for you, I will speak for me. When you do get to be towards 30 and then you get older and every year ticks on and there's no one in your life, not no one in your life, but you know what I mean. There's no spouse, there's no partner. You do start to go, gosh, what do I matter? Does someone see me? Am I seen as important? And those are, they're attacks from the enemy, but they're still real attacks from the enemy. Yeah, and I think that's something that, we've got to embrace that is. By the way, James Michael, as a 38-year-old single Christian, or almost 38-year-old single Christian, a single 42-year-old is a unicorn. So, single, never married, 42-year-old is a unicorn. So,
not a lot of us.
You are very rare. You are a rare breed.
Anybody who's done online social media dating has found out very quickly, finding people, never married, no kids. There are very few of us out there.
Yeah.
You're in that boat, and we're a small.
Yeah. That's just, there's 5 in Charlotte. I'm pretty convinced. I know of 10, but still, it's 10. That's it.